Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favi and welcome to Arrows DIY. On this channel, I love creating home decor on a budget. Today's video is a fun one. It's part of the tissue paper tour and it's hosted every 3 months by Lisa of Lovin's the Life and Karen of the Loft Home Decor. Be sure to check out their channel links in my description box as well as the playlist link to see everyone who participated in this collaboration. So today I have 3 projects for fall using discount items from either the Dollar Tree, my local thrift store, and some little pieces from Hobby Lobby. My package was sent to me by Devi Munoz over at Blossom Your Creativity. Please go out and check out her channel, show her some love. She's almost to 1,000 subscribers and I know we can get her there, guys. I'll leave her link in my description box below. So Devi was so sweet and kind and sent me these gift tissue papers to use, and I am challenged to use 3 of these in my projects today. Now, I am not a fan of Halloween, and these were giving me Halloween vibes. I don't do Halloween decor, so I had no idea what to do, but that's okay. I'm gonna use these for fall. So I started off with this piece here. I had this piece from a Michael's grab box I got about a year ago. If you're familiar with the Michael's grab boxes, you never know what you're going to get in those boxes. It's kind of a gamble. So I love being challenged. I love taking risks. So I decided to turn this North Pole chunky sign into a pumpkin. I love pumpkins, and we're going to start off by taking off the labels and we're going to give it a good coat of paint. Now I got 7 of these in my box, in my grab box, so I thought this would be the perfect project to use these. I don't know what else I could do with these, so we're gonna go ahead and turn them into pumpkins. I painted them all white, and once they were all painted white and dry, I gave them all a coat of Mod Podge. When we're applying the Mod Podge, we want to be sure to apply an even layer of the Mod Podge and making sure that you get all the way to the edges of your piece. If you don't get it to the edges of the piece, later on when you're trying to sand off the edges, you could tear your paper. So be sure to get the edges as well. Now once the Mod Podge was nice and dry, we're going to go in with our first tissue paper. This is the first one I chose. It was one of my favorites. I just love that orange and white gingham. I think it's so cute for a nice rustic farmhouse piece. So I'm going to use my mini iron. It's on the highest setting, and I found out that I actually ran out of wax paper. Now you do want to use either wax paper or parchment paper between your iron and your project to protect your gift tissue paper. Gift tissue paper is super delicate, guys. You want to be very careful, but I love the amount of paper you get for whatever price you're getting. I feel like it's a lot of paper and it's a good deal, especially if you get it at the Dollar Tree. Now, I start at the center of the project, and once that's ironed down, I go ahead and I go to the edges. Once my paper's adhered, I go around once more on the edges, the very edge of the piece. And there's some funny spots here since this is such an irregular shape. I had to cut into the paper just to get into those little nooks. And then once everything was nice and adhered on all the sides, I came in with some sandpaper and I'm just sanding off the edges with just some sandpaper from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to sand off the edges, and I like this paper because you're able to fold it to get into those little nooks and crannies. You can't do that with the sanding block. I mean, you could do that with a nail file and stuff, but I feel like this does the job. You just have to fold it a couple times to make it more sturdy, and you're able to get into all those little pieces that you need. And it's also able to hug any corners on the piece. And anyways, you just want to sand all around to get a nice clean edge. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm only going to show you what I did on one of the pumpkins because I do the same thing for every single pumpkin, and we have 7 pumpkins here, so I appreciate your time. So I basically do the same thing for each pumpkin, just changing out the gift tissue paper every single time. If you're new around here, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Favi. I am a Bible-believing, crafty mother of 5. Whoa, 6. I just had a baby. And I'm a crafty mother of 6, and I'm so happy you're here. And please subscribe if you'd like to see more of what I make in this house. I just had a baby barge into the room. Okay, so as I was saying, I love rustic decor, farmhouse. I love the shabby chic, sometimes a little boho. So you never know what you're going to get on my channel. I invite you to subscribe. I would love to have you here, and please say hello in the comments. If you're new, I love hearing from you guys. So thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can see here, I just pulled out the next gift tissue paper, and this one I think might be one of my favorites. I love the polka dot on there. And I'm not a big fan of orange, like that screaming loud orange. I like a soft orange. I'm very picky with my oranges. So it was really hard for me to cope with the background color, but I do love the little polka dot colors. So just as before, I'm gonna use the mini heat iron, and then I'm gonna sandpaper the edges just with some Dollar Tree sandpaper. And I'm loving the way these patterns are looking together. Now, I was afraid this particular one was giving me Halloween vibes. You let me know in the comments below if you think this gift paper reminds you of Halloween. But yeah, I just thought it would look good with the rest of the colors, and we're challenged to use 3 of the gift tissue papers in our projects today. So this is my 3rd paper here. So once I adhered all of the papers, I'm going to go ahead and turn these into pumpkins. Now I'm using my pencil just to sketch out the the ribs on the pumpkin. And then after that, I just seal it with some Crackle Medium by Plaid. Now I was trying to do a distressing effect on top of this just because I was trying to tone down that bright orange. So what I ended up doing was putting the Crackle Medium on and just letting it dry on all of the pumpkins. This is the only pumpkin here, as you're looking. This is the only piece that I did not put paper on, but instead I decided to paint it in black. So right now I'm painting it with Apple Barrel's gloss black paint. It's an acrylic paint. And I'm just gonna let that dry. So as it's drying, I'm going to move on to something else because I have no patience. And I don't have time. So I'm always trying to be creative and do things as fast as possible. Now I'm taking, in this little container here, I have some antique wax, and I'm watering it down. Now I'm going to apply this on top of the Crackle Medium after the Crackle Medium is fully dry. Very important, you cannot mix the Crackle Medium when it's wet. So once the Crackle Medium's on there dry, I go on and I paint this watered down antique wax to it. So here we are. This is what it's looking like, and it's immediately crackling. Now since I watered it down, it is a very faint distressing. It's not very obvious. And I do that for all of the gift papers just to tone down that orange a tad bit. Now for this one, once the black paint was dry, I go in and I add the Crackle Medium on top of the dry paint. And we're gonna wait once more for this Crackle Medium to dry. Once the Crackle Medium is fully dry, we're gonna paint it with plaster on top. And this is my favorite part of using Crackle. It is so satisfying. Now when you add Crackle, you don't want to add too many brush strokes to the Crackle Medium or the paint you're putting on top. So you only have one chance to apply one swipe with your paintbrush to apply the paint. So I recommend putting more paint on your paintbrush than less, so you don't drag the Crackle Medium off. As you can see here, it's a little sped up. My video is sped up, but you can see how quickly the crackle happens. And it's just so much fun watching this part. You could accelerate it with your heat gun and it will just crackle faster. The more paint you add on top of the crackle, the bigger the crack, and vice versa. The less amount of paint you add on top of the crackle, if you add a thin layer of paint on top of your crackle, you'll get little faint cracks, like a tiny cracks. So here you are. I'm just showing you the crackle and the difference between the sizes of the cracks depending on how much paint you applied. But I'm loving this. It's so rustic, and this one's gonna tie all of the other ones together. Now I did draw some pencil marks on there, And I chose the center to be kind of like 2 inches from the top of this piece. It's a irregular shape, so I feel like if you ever have an irregular wood shape, whatever piece you don't know what to do with because it's a weird shape, make it a pumpkin, because pumpkins come in the weirdest shapes. So I'm so happy I got to use this piece because I don't know when else I was going to use this. I mean, I guess I could make it a snowman too, because those are kind of irregular as well. But anyways, as you can see here, I'm just taking some jute twine and I'm going to trace those pencil lines I drew. So starting in the center there, I kind of made a rounded arc shape with my pencil, and now I'm just tracing that rounded shape with the jute twine and some hot glue. It is very helpful to have a detailed tip glue gun so you can get the glue in the thinnest line possible, but it's fine. Just use whatever you have. If you don't want jute twine, you can also use yarn. You could use suede cord, anything you want to use. I think this would turn out so cool with so many patterns, any color. You could do chalk paint on this. Sky's the limit, guys. Get creative. So as you can see here, I'm just gonna show you on one pumpkin. I'm tracing the ribs on the pumpkin with the twine, and now you can see I'm not crazy. It really is a pumpkin. I told my husband I was gonna make this a pumpkin. He's like, okay. He knows by now. Just wait. All right, so this is how it turns out, and you want to be careful because, you know, hot glue's hot. You might want to use finger protectors. I try to avoid touching the hot glue at all costs. I kind of touch the twine more than the hot glue, because if you touch the hot glue, it can get very messy. So just try your best not to touch the hot glue and only touch the twine. And also use a heat gun after you adhere all your twine on there. Use a heat gun and you can clean up any of those glue strings that happen when you are working with twine, and it makes the project nice and neat. So that's what I do right after I do this part. Now I'm going to take some wood beads I got at Temu, temu.com, and I'm going to make a tassel, and I'm going to string these on to the tassel. I've showed in previous videos how I make my tassels, so I'm going to spare you this time. I hope you don't mind. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see how I make a tassel. It's not a professional tassel. I am not a professional. I am just a lady who likes creating for fun on a budget. So once I got those 3 wooden beads on the tassel, I added some of this gold paint, kind of like a distressing feature for the middle bead. Because of the place I'm going to put it at in my home, it has a lot of gold accents, so I kind of wanted it to fit in to that spot. So I'm going to be accenting with gold because of that, but you could totally leave this part out if you don't like that for your home. So now I'm going to paint the border in this white color to help cover that glitter that was on top of this North Pole snow globe thingamajig. I'm going to go ahead and just paint the edge in this white color just to keep everything cohesive and cover the glitter. And once we get that into all the nooks and crannies, we're going to let that dry. And remember, I do this for all 7 pumpkins. And now we're going to work on the leaves. So I got these wooden leaves from Dollar Tree, and at first I wanted to make them antique wax, kind of like a brown color, but then I didn't think it looked good with the orange, so I opted for this chalk paint. Now this chalk paint is called Pine by Folk Art Home Decor. It is a chalk paint. Did I say that already? I don't know, but it's a chalk paint and it's in the color pine, and I love this green color. So I'm going to go ahead and make that the leaf for these pumpkins. I'm going to show you here how I cut it so that you can see exactly where to make your line if you ever want to do this for your pumpkins. I took a Sharpie and I made a curve from the end of the stem all the way to the point there, and I cut off that circle, that little hole. I just didn't want to deal with a hole and filling a hole, so I just cut it off altogether. And then once I cut off that little arch part, I just painted the entire thing in this green chalk paint, and I think it looks good. So now, like I said, I'm going to accent the corners with a little bit of this gold paint. This paint is called Treasure Gold in the color Mayan Gold. It's my absolute favorite, well, one of my favorite golds. And I'm just going to go ahead and randomly touch up some spots with my finger just to help it look some like rustic, but not perfect. Again, you can leave this out if you don't want to. So once I have that done, I'm going to cover that corner there with this leaf, and I'm loving how it's looking so far. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of the pumpkins. Now for the one that has the crackle on there, I did a little thing special. I had these words from Hobby Lobby, and I figured I might as well use them for this project. I'm working really hard, guys, to use my stash. I strongly recommend you guys use your stashes as well, because we buy the things and we don't use them. You know what I mean? So I hope this inspires you to take an irregular shape that you might have in your stash and turn it into something, a pumpkin perhaps, or a gourd. So this is a little happy fall sign I got from my friend MaryBeth. She sent me some happy mail and I'm so appreciative. So thank you so much, MaryBeth. You are the sweetest. I went ahead and I just popped that happy fall right there. Now I could have put it in the center, but as you can see here, we're gonna start adding these tassels, these beaded tassels. And I didn't want the beaded tassel to block the happy fall word, which is why I opted to put it there in the corner. Now I did paint the back. Turns out I'm out of brown paper. So you could cover the back with brown paper and some glue from a glue stick, but I'm just gonna paint them in this chalk color. It's a dark gray color called Maui Sand. It's a beautiful color. And I just opted to paint the backs in that color just to cover that North Pole nonsense that was going on there. And now I'm gonna take a drill and I'm gonna drill a hole. Yes, there you go. I'm gonna drill a hole, and right in the center top there where I made that dot, and I think it was like 1/8 of an inch, I think. Just make a hole, guys. If you don't have access to power tools and you don't want to make a hole, you could totally just make a knot at the end of your tassel and hot glue that to the middle there for the same effect. You don't have to drill a hole. I don't know. I just wanted to drill a hole. So that's what I did for all of these pumpkins. And then once I drilled that hole, I went ahead and I used a little bit of hot glue on the end of the tassel. And then I fed it through the hole and I tied a double knot in the back and I hot glued that secure in place. Then I cut off the excess, and yeah, that little tassel looks so cute in the front. Now I thought the edges were a little too stark white and I wanted to rustic it up. So I did add some antique wax to the edges to make them very rustic. And this is how they turned out. Let me know what you think. I think they're adorable. And I'm so glad I got to use these for my stash, guys. I'm so proud that I used these little shapes. I had no clue what to do with them. And I think they're adorable. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below if you'd ever try this one. Now for our next project, we're going to be making this pizza pan sign. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to put it all over this pizza pan. Now Mod Podge does dry clear. You want to make sure you put a good layer on there so that your paper adheres. Now, turns out my paintbrush wasn't clean. I had a little bit of residue, which is why you could still see the Mod Podge on there, but my Mod Podge is dry, guys. It's just mixed with white paint, so it looks like this. So now I'm gonna take this gift tissue paper, and it's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Debbie from Blossom Your Creativity. I absolutely love this one. I think it's so cute. And I love it because the little stems are in this dark gray color. And I found that so unique. I don't know, I really liked it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my mini iron just as before. Now I found a tiny piece of wax paper and that's what I'm using here. Guys, I have no shame in my game, as you can see. The gift tissue paper worked in the last DIY, but it was very fragile. So I just found a little piece of wax paper in my craft space and I'm like, you know what? It's a mini iron. It'll work. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm starting in the center and I'm just going to iron this paper on with that wax paper in between. And as you can see, I'm just gonna adhere it like so. I tried to make sure that I didn't go and touch the rim of the pizza pan because I didn't want to adhere the paper to the outer edge. I didn't want that outer edge with the paper. So once it was adhered in the middle of this pizza pan, I went ahead and used my X-Acto knife and just cut off a straight edge. Super simple. Now I'm going to take some plaster chalk paint and I'm going to paint the top of the sign. It took about 4 coats to get a good solid color. And I also opted to paint the rim of this sign as well. Now, you don't have to use this color. You could use gray, any color you like. I think it's always good to pull a color from the actual paper itself. But since I was gonna add some elements on top of here, I wanted a nice base color, which is why I chose the plaster chalk paint. So as you can see here, I paint all around the edges carefully. And now I'm gonna use my heat gun and I get really close to this metal pan. If you guys know, when you heat a metal pan, it gets really, really hot. So be careful because your pan is gonna get really hot. But what I love about it is that it cracks my paint. So I got really, really close to the chalk paint so that it would give me a sweet crackle. Guys, I just love crackle technique. I love that distressed look. I can't get enough of it. I'm telling you, I've gone through so many bottles of crackle medium. And this is a good alternative if you don't have crackle medium. Look at that crackle. Isn't that beautiful? And you can see the silver shining through. That's my favorite part. All right, so I gotta do this again, probably on a Christmas DIY. I just absolutely love how that crackle looks on the metal. So then I took some sandpaper and I sanded the edges to kind of bring some of that silver back through. And I tried to distress the paper and I forgot I didn't seal the paper. So I do rip the paper a little bit right here. So caution, if you're using gift tissue paper, don't sand it. I mean, it might seem obvious, but guys, I totally ripped my paper. So once I ripped it, I just took a little bit of Mod Podge on my finger and I just, fixed that boo-boo. But yeah, guys, don't do that, especially if you haven't sealed your project. I was just trying to take some of that chalk paint off of there, which I didn't have to because I'm going to cover it anyways. So now I took some burlap I got from Walmart and I'm just going to cut it down. I wanted a frayed edge on there, so I wanted it to be very rustic. I'm going to go ahead and cut this so that it covers that line. And it's about 1 inch thick in the middle. And then we have about 1/2 inch of fraying all around the edges. So I used some hot glue and I adhered it. You want to be careful because you could burn yourself. This is burlap and there's lots of holes, and yeah, be careful. So as you can see here, I'm going to add some hot glue all around and make sure this is down real good. And I didn't make the ruffle, I didn't make the fraying perfect either because I do love that just raggly nature of it. Now I'm gonna take this piece from Dollar Tree. I like it as is. You could keep it just like this and your DIY is over. But you guys know I always take it a little further. I like to say I'm a little extra, So I had this C that I had thrifted. I got it for $1 and I wanted to use it. So we're gonna make a monogram sign. I'm going to go ahead and mix some of this cobblestone chalk paint with some antique wax. I wanted to make a deeper gray color to match the stem on my piece. So I'm going to go ahead and just mix some antiquing wax until it's the perfect shade of gray. Once it is, I'm going to paint this blue letter with that paint. And it took 3 coats, guys. This was painful to watch dry. It was just not drying. It took forever, but once it did, it was great. So off camera, I give it 3 coats. So now for this one, I wanted to distress it. So at the beginning, I just wanted to give this first one a distressing. I didn't want it to say hello fall. I feel like so many things say hello fall. Everything can't just be saying hello, 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 hello to me. You know what I mean? So I wanted to keep this one very simple. I went ahead and I painted it, and then the hello fall words were not covering well. So then I opted to put more paint on it and kind of give it a texture with the stipple technique. One of my street subscribers, Chris, from my last video premiere, told me, why don't you do a stippling? And ever since then, it's been on my mind. So thank you, Chris. I love that suggestion. I think it looks so good on this pumpkin. I'm open to suggestions. If you guys ever want to see me make something or have a better way of me doing things, I love suggestions. So feel free to leave any comments in the description box. I am totally open to them and I appreciate them. So thank you so much for any comment you leave me. Okay, so as you can see here, now I'm going to take that raw edge and I'm going to cover it with jute twine. I'm going to carefully put a little bit of glue on there, and I'm going to go back and forth twice to cover that bottom edge. Sorry if you hear, my kids are watching a movie next door, and if you hear that, I am so sorry. So I'm going to go ahead here and just add this jute twine all around the inner border of this pizza pan sign. And guys, I love pizza pan signs. I cannot get enough of them. If you're sick of them, I am so sorry, but I mean, they're good. They're so good. Stop it, guys. $1? They're so good for $1.25. All right, so now once it's fully 95% dry, I'm gonna go in and assemble these. I couldn't get my placement right. I didn't want the C fully covered. It was, guys, this took a time just to figure out the right way to put this, but eventually I was all right with it. I figured if the white pumpkin came off the edge a little tiny bit, it would be okay. It was kind of cute. I tried detaching these two pieces, these two pumpkins. I could not get them apart for the life of me, and I was not going to break a nail over a pumpkin. So I just opted to put it this way. I did not take the little hardware off the back of the C because it kind of helped raise the C so that I could attach it to the perfect height. And I like to reuse my DIYs and like pull them apart sometimes, so I figured maybe I could use that in the future. All right, so here you can see I'm just taking some jute twine, I'm wrapping it around the middle of the C to give it some rustic goodness, and then I'm going to add this finger bow right to the middle of it. I think that's so cute. This twine that I bound, this jute twine that I bound around the middle of the C also helped me attach this piece to the pizza pan sign. So I added a ton of hot glue right on that twine section and right at the bottom of that C. And I hot glued it to the pan, and I also hot glued it to that orange plaid pumpkin. Now I'm adding a finger bow, and I'm gonna secure the little tails with a little dabs of hot glue as well. Now I made a little hanger out of jute twine off camera, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back of the sign like so, making sure that my sign can hang perfectly vertical and centered. So I just had to make sure that happened. I also put a little bow on top of that little white pumpkin, and I think it's so adorable, guys. Let me know what you think about this one. It was super easy to make, super rustic. I love this one so much, but I want to know what you think. So in the comments below, let me know what you think about this one. I didn't want to add a bow on top. I feel like sometimes less is more. I get a little carried away sometimes, but I wanted this monogram sign to be very plain. For this next project, I'm going to be using this laundry sign. I thrifted. So instead of it being $6, I got it for $2. Yes, I did. I never pay retail, guys. Never pay retail. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a box cutter, and I'm going to make a reverse canvas sign. So I'm going to use a very super sharp X-Acto knife. I got this one on Temu. I can link it below if you're interested in this X-Acto knife. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this off. If you hear the baby, he's right here with me, just FYI. I'm feeding him. He's hungry. He's a hungry one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just pull off this canvas sign. All the extra bits that are stuck there would They were really difficult to take off, but super simple with a plier. So I recommend using a plier. And these staples started like flying off, so you might want to use eye protection of some sort. I didn't because I live on the edge, but you know, be careful guys. Don't hurt yourself. Please don't hurt yourself. So once I pulled everything off, it's looking like this, and I think it's so beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and take plaster, chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the inner frame. And I'm going to try my best not to get paint on the outer frame or on myself. But you know, things happen. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this as best I can. All right, now this is the inner, this is the canvas we just pulled off. I'm gonna take some of these stickers from Dollar Tree and I'm going to spell out the word fall leaves. The leaves wouldn't fit, so I had to make them all jumbled up, but that's okay because it's super cute that way. I just have to make sure to keep a 1/2 inch border all the way around the sign so that the frame could be glued on to this canvas. I also used some of these smaller stickers from Dollar Tree as well. You could totally use a Cricut if you have a Cricut. I just like giving alternatives to my subscribers who might not have a Cricut or have a Cricut like I do and just don't want to pull it out right now. And that's totally what's happening right now. Once I have everything adhered, I press the stickers in really well, and then I give it a coat in this chalk paint called Maui Sand. It's like a dark gray color. It's so beautiful for fall. This is the same color almost as the stems, just a little tiny bit darker than the stems on that gift paper from the last DIY. Once I got all the stuff painted, I pulled off the stickers while the paint was still wet. It's good to do that while the paint is still wet so your sticker doesn't actually permanently stick to your project. I do have some spots there that leaked, but I just fixed that with a tiny paintbrush, also by Temu, and I just touched it up with some white paint. Now I wanted to add some kind of decorative feature to the sign, so I added a really thick line of paint with a lot of paint to kind of give it a 3D plaster effect. I'm not sure why I did this. I really can't explain it. I just did that for one of the sides on the letters to kind of give it a 3D effect. Now I took Sharpie and I just spelled out our Savior's name, and I'm gonna do that in cursive, just freehand it. Like I said, you could use stickers for this part, you could freehand it like I am right now, or you could just use your Cricut, whatever you like. I've also seen a sticker at Dollar Tree that says Jesus on it, but I think that one was in reference to like germs and washing your hands. So if you can find that one, then you could totally use that one. Once I got that sticker on there, oh my gosh. Once I got the word on there, I go in and I just paint it with this gold paint. And this paint is called Treasure Gold by Folk Art. It's in the color Mayan Gold, and it's such a beautiful color. Now for some reason when I was painting these letters, it was kind of picking up the Sharpie color underneath, so it was coming out kind of like a peacock bluish greenish color, so I had to give it several coats for the gold to pop through. Now to carry the gold throughout the project, I did distress, like a light distressing with some gold on some of the edges, just randomly with my finger in different spots. Not all the edges, just some of them to give it a little bit of a gold touch. And I thought that was pretty. And now just to finish off this project, I'm gonna take some of these leaves. Also, I got in that same Happy Meal from, I said Happy Meal, the Happy Meal. No, we don't eat Happy Meals. The Happy Meal from MaryBeth. I'm just gonna take some of these leaves and hot glue them all around the sign like so. And I wanted to make it very playful so they look like they're falling down. So I just randomly put them around. I tried not to block any of the letters, and I tried not to have any of the same color leaves touch. So I just wanted it to be very I just wanted it to be very random and just be a very fun piece for fall. Now I really like how these colors pop against that dark gray color. So Maui sand is such a pretty chalk paint color in my opinion. As you can see here, I'm just going to put on as many leaves as will fit without blocking the letters too much. And I wanted it to look as though the leaves were collected at the bottom of the word leaves. So I add a lot of the leaves to the bottom of the word leaves. I've seen several people make this sign, but I just wanted to make one for myself. So this is kind of my interpretation. I thought this was such a beautiful sentiment for the season. And I always love bringing Jesus into my home decor, whether it's through Bible scripture or funny puns like this one. I also added a leaf to the top left corner of the sign and the bottom right corner of the sign. So that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments below. This one was a lot of fun to make. I loved the sign and I am so happy I found it for $2 at the thrift store. But let me know what you think about this one in the comments below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching today. I had a lot of fun creating and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to create with me. So here are all the DIYs from today's video. I love making rustic home decor, farmhouse decor, shabby chic decor. I just love having fun with colors and textures and mixing them with neutrals. So if you like what you saw today, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more of what I make in this house. Leave me a comment below, say hello. But whatever you, thank you so much one more time for taking time out of your day. You could ring that bell 2 times so you'll be notified every time I post a video. Thank you to Lisa and Karen for hosting this collab. It's always a blast. And guys, don't forget to check out that playlist in the description box below. Take care, guys. God bless. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. If you like this video, here's another one you might enjoy.